Technically, most of the events have been stopped already back in March, and all the events have been stopped by April. So it was not easy to adjust, but it gives us an opportunity to look at chess from another angle and certainly to prepare for the day after. I think the biggest mistake would be just to sit out and see, to wait till it's over, because we now have an excellent opportunity to prepare ourselves and to see what would be coming after this pandemic is over. Because chess, meanwhile, can capitalize on these factors that chess can be played online. So we get more and more people attached to chess during these times, and we see online platforms are booming. You have many people joining and competing in all various competitions, not necessarily only in Blitz. But at the same time, we have to balance it properly, because chess cannot and will not remain only an online game. We are not an online game, we are much more, we are a subculture. In this regard, we should have midterm and long-term strategy. Midterm would have more of online events staged, but at the same time, we have to plan what happens then when we are after the crisis, how we resume it. And in this regard, I think India has a bright potential, because from what I can judge on the media and the reports what's going on, there is a huge interest in chess activities throughout India. You can take a look on newspapers. There's a lot of reports. Even recently they have conducted online Nations Cup for an Indian team, and we see Vishy and who competed for Team India, and it caused great deal of interest. So the question how we approach it, what should be the aims, because it's easy to say we're going to popularize chess, but actually if you start shooting in all the directions, it would be very difficult. So the question here where to prioritize, I think for India there are two major points which could be made. A is just a promotion, mass promotion, let's say, as we discussed, schools program, chess education. We have witnessed already several thousands Indian players who either made GM or IM, so it's already on a high level. And B, promoting some sort of top chess, because we know that India has a lot of top players, but unfortunately there were very few tournaments in India last years. I can assure you that FIDE would be supporting any sort of this activity to go to India to stage it. I think one of the major, let's say, tasks would be to come up with the plans that would be inviting and interesting for sponsors, because chess is something that runs popular in India, but still does not enjoy a lot of massive sponsorship. Indeed, there are companies which are supporting their players on the play for the team. But in terms of some bigger events, even if we know one of the most important tournaments in the world is at the Steels, but it is in VIDE, it started to take place in India as well. But we obviously can think of a better way to approach companies to be interested to see how popular chess indeed and how can it promote chess in general. Let me give you one example of things changing. If you remember, 6 years ago, India was barely existed on the chess map, because Vishy only became grandmaster a couple of years before that, and the chess life was at a very, let's say, low level compared to what's going to happen today. Actually, the first breakthrough, Vishy would correct me if I'm wrong, was exactly 30 years ago when Vishy qualified for candidates. It was Manila 99. So before that, you could hardly imagine that India would be a chess country. You had some master players, but never on a top level. And so you see how long, let's say, how big the path which India just have made within these 30 years. But now we have to understand there's great competition from all countries in the world. You have American players who are improving. You have the WGM who is organizing. You have a lot of Chinese players emerging mostly due to state support of China, because they find chess being attractive. Also, they have the Chinese chess and Go, which are much more popular in the country. but still they invest in chess and they go. So I would expect India to realize that chess is something that the country can be proud of. You have excellent chess players, you have legend, which is very important for a country to have role models. So you have them actually. You have a role model as Vishy, you have younger generation of players with Hari Krishna. You have female players, you have Hamdi Panero, who is number going on with 3. So you have really all the reasons to advance. I think it's just a matter of prioritizing what should be focusing on and approaching right people in order to move it. On behalf of FIDE, I can tell that we see India as an important strategic partner, not only have some tournament as well. No, it should be some sort of strategic partnership because India has a huge potential, and probably if you take a ratio of population and interest in chess, it is the leading country in the world. Because let's say in Russia, chess is hugely popular, but still the population is 10 times less. So if you take this ratio of interest in chess and the population, I think India has all the chances to become real superpower. I mean, in all terms of best players, in terms of tournaments, in terms of chess in school, in terms of let's say media visibility of chess, and FIDE is obviously going to give hand here, and we are full support.
Thank you, Emil, for the encouraging words. May I now invite Viswanathan Anand to give his bit of wisdom to us.
Hello, everyone, first of all. So I'm very happy with what has been expressed so far. For me, the most significant thing that has happened in 2020 has simply been this. We have overcome this psychological barrier in many ways. Nobody thinks anything of having online meetings anymore. Whereas before, online meetings were very much a poor cousin to, I mean, you can do it, but of course, then you should have a proper meeting. And that was the attitude very much in chess as well. I mean, chess has been playable online for decades already. There is no new development. Of course, there is some fine-tuning, anti-cheating software, anti-catch up, bandwidth, connectivity, all these things. In fact, the pandemic has been very kind to us to come to us in this year. 10 years ago, we wouldn't even have been able to connect so easily. So at least in that sense, we're better prepared now. So I was very happy to see that Siddharth and the MCA were thinking in terms of going full steam ahead in this. Mr. Kareer as well mentioned some interesting ideas, like a single device just for chess, which is intriguing. I mean, maybe we can take a slightly older device, have only one app on it, and find a way of verification. I mean, there are interesting possibilities. But for me, the most interesting thing is we now that people are open to the idea and they don't resist the idea of doing something online. Even school, it seems quite natural that a lot of classes simply happen online. We should use this, and especially I feel we should be open to hybrid arrangements. It turns out to be very convenient if some rounds cannot be completed for some reason. We can have 1 or 2 rounds happen online. I mean, just that we should be flexible, experiment a lot, and see, because now we're open to so many more possibilities, and we should see how that allows us to organize more tournaments and more effectively. Equally, in a country the size of India, sometimes these hybrid arrangements may be more practical. And I feel if we are open to experiment, then this can be a very, very useful tool to supercharge our organizational abilities. So the MCA is always very imaginative. I mean, the chess league already had a lot of new concepts, and imagine now if that was mixed with some element of online, you know, whenever the tournament had to be a bit shorter, or you want to have exhibition matches at the end. There are many, many possibilities, and I basically want to explore that as much as possible.
Thank you, Vishy, and I think we will take those concepts forward and make things get into reality. Thank you once again. Nitin Kareer, may I please ask you to guide us all?
Yeah. Hi. Good morning, everybody. I am more or less the outsider here. So which means the advantage is that you get an outsider's perspective to everything. So when Abhijit spoke to me, I said, "What is it that I can contribute here?" And he also, of course, was not sure. But since he is so fond of me, he said, "Ki nahi, tumi yaad." So here I am. Okay, just a couple of points that I think are important, taking forward the discussion that we are having. Uh, One is that, and I feel that this is really important, is to popularize this the concept of chess. That it is a sport in the first place, that it is important for cognitive development, which is not only for playing chess but for real life, in some way. That's something that we should possibly work on. And I'm not really sure, I haven't really applied my mind to it, but it's not enough to say that, okay, this is sport and if you excel in it, you will get so many marks and stuff like that, because that only helps up to for a limited extent. There are obviously, and if we have now so many international masters and grandmasters, I'm sure there is enough talent pool out there which can be tapped to get even more people to come up. The question is, how do I reach to those people? Just to give an example, my daughter was trained in chess by Bhausai. So, and she was a decent player. I mean, obviously nowhere at any great level, but she was a decent player. My son, who never got any training, regularly beats her in the game. So it's something that so obviously there is a whole lot of talent available which is untapped, and the question is, how do we reach out to these people? And to reach out to these people, we need to make the game available to everybody, and the best way to do it is online, online or offline or whichever way, to have a wide variety of devices which can be distributed across across the schools, where children can, in the break, whoever is interested can log on to the device and play a game, pass it on, or they can play a game against each other or play a game against somebody else in some other school. That's the type of device that I think that will really help in popularizing the game, and that's really coming out of the challenges that we are now facing because of COVID. Because we never did think of this possibility that everything could be online. I mean, all of us did believe in physically meeting. The handshake and the hug is still something that I miss for the last 3 months. But we learn, we move on, we learn to say hello from a distance. And therefore, I think the learnings of this endemic are that online is the thing that we need to move on, or wherever there is no physical interaction. If active sports, physical sports cannot be played for another 3 months, well, okay, then that's the opening for chess that is available. And then how do we use this opening is something that we need to work on. The handheld devices, of course, is a great idea, and we need to work on them a little bit more. Uh, I would think that keeping them purely for chess will bring the cost down substantially, and if those same devices can be used for at specific times for online using the network code which is in the instrument. While we were having the preliminary discussions, I just put a couple of young startups on the job already, and they are super excited about this. So I'm sure we'll have something coming up in the next couple of weeks, because these young people have great ideas, and they are always looking for opportunities. On the tournaments, I have a little concern, which is how do we monitor? I mean, it's obviously not a nice thing to say, but somebody has to say it. So better that I do it, which is that how do we monitor that cheating does not happen when online games take place? I'm sure there must be some solutions which have emerged worldwide by now, uh, but they may be expensive solutions. And how do we ensure then that the player who is participating in an online tournament is doing it by himself without any support of his coach or anybody else who is seated in the room, or taking help of any other device or any other software program which is running simultaneously. Now, that's really a challenge that we need to look at, like online examinations. And uh, online examinations have also run against this big obstacle, because it's very unless you have a time constraint, unless you have like 60 minutes and 120 questions, it's very easy for anybody to cheat in an online examination. Now, that's something that's really possible, maybe not possible uh, in our system, but maybe something else would be possible. And interestingly, of the people that I had called, I already have a return call, which I will take after a while. On the handheld devices, somebody's got charged up and already getting back to me. So I think these two couple of issues that I had to make were these. Most importantly, how do we take advantage of this lockdown, advantage of not having any physical sports, and reach out to a largest number of people, so students, so that our talent pool is maximized. Thank you.
Thank you, Kareer. And I think you have put in a lot of energy into us with that concept of the handheld device. And I'm sure that with your help and guidance, we'll be able to make this into a reality before end of this year already. Thank you once again. BharatSingh ji, can you please guide us on the overall association perspective and the opportunities that exist for us now?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayur Bhai. Thank you, Mayur Bhai. It's a great thing Maharashtra Chess Association is taking this initiative. I will mainly talk about two things. One is after COVID and within the COVID. After COVID, I think Indian population, chess population is greater asset for us. And in past, our most of the tournaments are self-funded in the way of entry fee, and a lot of people are coming. So it was not difficult, but now with the government support and a lot of sponsorship was coming. Now with this situation, most of the funding has gone. CSR funding will go for COVID-19. So it will be difficult to start same way. Maybe we go back to 90s again, as Emil was talking. And now the basic difference between 90s and now is we have a lot of superstars: Anand, Hari Krishna, Vidit. We have Hampi, Harika, a lot of young talented chess players, Gukesh, Pragananda, and they are really stars for the country, and a lot of people follow them, and a lot of people get interested to chess because of these guys. So I'm sure in India, within 6 months, we'll be able to come back again with the same results, same bang. Yes, initially there will be a lot of difficulties to start the physical tournaments, but some of the places in Europe, it has already started. Maybe in India, we can start from the club level or local level, and later on we can introduce with a lot of new rules, conditions, and we can issue guidelines. I'm sure India will be able to come back within 6 months for the on track. Now, suppose this situation prevails for a long time, this COVID-19 is, it's a never ending story. People talk about it, that it's going to be. We can start, as Vishy suggested, some of the tournament, some of the rounds in a tournament in emergency, you can have online. In technical commission, we are already thinking on those lines. In 2019 Aeroflot Open, there was a bomb scare, and organizers had no choice to reduce one round. So we need to give sweeping powers to the arbiters and prepare for this kind of things, like 1 round online or 2 round online. This is a very great idea. Second thing, we should start our state championship online. As Kareer Saab said, there is a cheating issues, but there are a lot of institutes which conduct tournament. Maybe they have centers in all the major cities. Maybe there are 100 centers to conduct GMAT examination or various examinations. So maybe we can coordinate with them and we can invite players to be there, and we can provide them computers so that cheating can be avoided. So we can have state championship, national championship online. So this is the way we can move forward in this difficult situation without cheating. As I said, we can provide, we can invite, we can select on district level, and when it is a national championship, they can go to the centers, maybe 50 centers in the country, and wherever these tests are taking places, they have their own computers. We can have arbiters, 2 to 3 arbiters in one center, or maybe 4 or 5 arbiters, and we can run this monitor. So cheating can be avoided, and so cheating can be avoided. This is the way we can start moving.
Is another big chess enthusiast, and who's a non-chess player just like me, but very passionate and keen about taking chess forward. Aniruddha, can you please guide us all?
Hello, everyone. Nice to have this session online, but I hope the COVID situation gets over in 6-8 months and we get to the normal chess, back to the normal chess. Soumya is here. I just remember the PYC Chess League where I could see her nail biting finish, though she could not do that move and the time was over. Do you remember, Soumya? So that action cannot come online. Viswanathan Anand has helped us over the years in MCA, and he will keep on helping us. So as to taking some cues from Kareer Saab and BharatSingh ji, and particularly Emil, who said that we have to popularize chess. So I think there is a time for 6-8 months because of the COVID. So Vishwanath Anand is also free. Can we make a movie on him? So if we make some kind of maybe a movie or a Netflix serial, I think chess will be promoted much more than what it is being promoted right now. So nobody's traveling. I think particularly Abhijit Kunte has been available for us and free for last 2-3 months. So anytime, whenever we want, he's ready to visit us. So I think this is a good time. Abhijit can write a nice a Netflix serial or something whereby we can make chess more popular. Yes, chess. Many people don't think chess as a sport when we go actually to the school level. So when we have been running a school where Abhijit is actually helping us run this school in a very remote area on the tribal front, and there somebody has designed what Mr. Kareer Saab is telling us, that you have to have some kind of tab. So they have designed and given us a tab which the tribal students are able to teach their parents basically few things, like it is in the form of pictures, so they can teach them where the police station is or anything. So just taking this forward from Mr. Kareer, I will also request that same agency, if they can, if I and Abhijit and Mayur can meet that agency together, whether we can make some kind of tab or something. And yes, sponsorship is always going to be a big challenge for any sports for next 2-3 years. The entire overall economy of the country and the world has been disturbed. So it is going to be a big challenge for at least 2021. I don't know about 22, but next 18 months is going to be big challenge for any sport to get sponsors. The Actually, it was the right time for the sport and chess that the money had started coming in last 5 years, and suddenly COVID has disturbed the entire economy of the world. But we will hope best for 2021-22 that the sponsorship starts coming in. On the online side, there are a lot of young boys whom I'm seeing nowadays who are playing. Four people are playing football. Many people are many youngsters have gone into poker. The way they play poker on the online is unimaginable. So in poker, they all play with the actual money. So they have been able to successfully manage the cheating part of it on the online poker. So we can take some information from them how we can stop cheating on the online and try and divert some poker young boys to come to chess. So if Viswanath Anand gives us a go ahead, I think Abhijit is free for next one or 2 months to start shooting a good serial for chess to tie up some company, maybe like Amazon or somebody. So I think that will make chess more popular. Thank you.
That's such a brilliant idea, Aniruddha, to make a film on chess. I think not many have thought about something like this. We have movies on cricket, we have movies on hockey, we have movies on football, but yeah, definitely why not chess? And I think with your help and support, we should also reach out to Amir again.
No, we have a film company already. So Viswanath Anand can say, okay, yes, we can actually start work on it.
So I think the biggest takeaway from today's seminar is going to be starting of a movie on chess with Vishy playing the lead role in it.
You know, actually there is a movie already on chess. I think it's on one of those from one of those African countries where this young girl starts to play chess. I saw that movie, brilliant movie, and I'm sure that movie must have done wonders to popularize the game in that country. So it's a great idea. I think we can take this forward.
Sure. Thank you, Kareer sir. Thank you, Aniruddha. Coming to the younger lot, Vidit, you are in the peak of your career, and suddenly you have to stop with your tournaments. All your plans for 2020 have gone somewhere in the tornadoes or the cyclones that have also hit Maharashtra over the last couple of months. So tell us, Vidit, what your plans are. How do you see things moving along from here?
Sure. Thank you for having me. So I can just speak from my experience, what I've noticed during the COVID. So I've started to stream online while like I'm playing a tournament, I'm streaming, or I'm watching a tournament, I'm streaming, explaining it to the audience and some things like that. So for example, I was watching a tournament yesterday where Magnus Carlsen, everybody's playing yesterday, and there were around 7,000 to 8,000 viewers watching constantly. So we still have numbers. People want to know about the game. So COVID has shown that chess can be really a popular sport if it's marketed like, in that way. And for example, what we can do is have more exhibition matches. So one day we had an exhibition match where I was blindfold and playing 3 games at a time and stuff like this online, where exhibition matches you don't need to worry about cheating, so that's not a problem. And at that point there were 20,000 viewers watching continuously, and like unique viewers are completely different. That I'm just saying, at one point 20,000 viewers throughout. So this is just the numbers, and there is a way to improve it. For example, like as a player, I feel there are limitations to what one can do. Like you can only organize limited number of events or do such exhibitions. But when an organization and a player comes together, that would really make a big difference. Let's say, for example, Chess24 and Magnus Carlsen, they like work. Magnus Carlsen owns Chess24 right now. So what they do is they have series of events happening, like around 5 or 6 events happening online, and it's doing wonders to the sport. Like even after COVID, there are like top professional chess events happening. Also, what chess.com is doing is they have this streamers, like they are entered the esports arena, where like there are various gamers who play chess, and they're extremely popular in their own fields, but they're playing chess, so it brings a new audience. So there are around 30,000 viewers and more watching at the same time. So that's like there are huge numbers. And if like a player and an organization can come together to popularize the game, it can be really effective, because as a player you can't do much after a certain level. And like, to give an example how popular chess has been in India in recent times, in Google search, if you like, there is a option of trends. You can see the trends, like what word was searched more. So until February, the most highest search term, for example, in India, one of the highest was Virat Kohli. Like he's the biggest cricketer in India, and he's a huge brand. But the term chess was searched more than Virat Kohli after March for like some time. I mean, when I last checked it. So that already shows that there is a positive curve towards, chess, and that's a good thing. So definitely, online events are great. And one of the things which I would like to improve, for example, the FIDE Nations Cup, it was a great event which happened, and that was because it was India playing. It brings more emotion. Like there is like country. People want to root for their country, which was a great event. And to have more events like this would be great, definitely. And most of the tournaments which I've played after the COVID are somewhere in Europe or US, stuff like this. I haven't played anything in India, which I feel like we can improve on, where we can have more events in India that would also bring more audience, like local audience, to play. So yeah, these are my couple of thoughts to like capitalize the online platform, which has shown, like as a prototype, it has shown that it works really well, but it can be made better. And for example, when organizations and players come together, it can really make a big difference, because organization part is very tough for players to do. uh, yeah, I mean, and more events happening in India, even offline, like to have more top level events, or even like closed tournaments in India, that would be great. Yeah, these are my like few points which I've noticed in the last few months. I'm open to like discussing it and stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Vidit. That's a very interesting perspective, especially coming from the younger generation, because your generation and generation coming after you are more tech savvy and more online savvy, if I may use that word. And of course, with someone as charming as you, the followers, I'm sure, would definitely be coming in plenty. So, no, thank you for that perspective, Vidit. Panelist, last but not the least, Soumya. You've been a big pride for Maharashtra. You've been playing the game. You've been also helping the game. So let us hear from you what you think or what you have been experiencing over the last couple of months and going beyond.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm just very honored to be amongst all of you, and just being on the same Zoom call as Anand is a matter of great personal joy. So thank you. Um, being the last one to speak also gives me the opportunity to borrow points from what everyone said and give my own perspective on it. So I really was like I really agree with the idea that online chess can be tapped into far more now than ever before, and it can be viewed as a separate like there can be a separate audience for online chess right now. And I feel, even though it is being tapped, I just feel that we are still, the tournaments for example are being conducted more or less in the same manner as before, which I think can be changed. For example, in the elite level, there are many amazing tournaments going on right now, like the ones Vidit mentioned, and that's amazing to follow as a chess viewer, as a chess fan. But as a chess player, I do feel that the kind of tournaments which were happening before online are even now they are the same. I feel there can be better opportunities online, more prize money can definitely be increased because actually everybody is at home and there'll be more players participating, so that should be considered. And also I feel, for example, the timings, they're exactly the same as before, but right now everyone is free the whole day. So that's also something that can be changed. And so I just feel that online chess should be, can be made even more professional than it is right now. Another point about sponsorship, which was discussed a lot. Yes, of course, the whole world is facing economic issues, but I also feel there are many brands who are still wanting to promote themselves, who have always been associated with sport. And right now, chess is the only sport which is more or less going on. And we should look into that. I mean, we can approach the same brands which have always been supporting sport for so many years. Also, approaching people who are anyway associated with chess, which we have been doing in MCA, by the way, for many years. But for example, just to give a name is Ananya Birla. She's a very popular singer. She's comes from a very business family. She's an amazing businessman, and she was also a chess player. She's someone who can support chess. So I feel play people like these who have anyway been associated with chess and love the sport will be more willing to invest into chess. And I also wanted to give a point of my own. I have been speaking to a lot of players, and in my case, I'm completely okay with being at home because, frankly speaking, I was anyway planning to take a break from tournaments. So it's fine for me. But there are a lot of players who are experiencing withdrawal symptoms by not going to tournaments, not traveling, not getting the opportunity to play, to improve their performance. And I do feel this is a good time to consider starting a mental health program for chess players. Associations, not only MCA but even FIDE, can definitely think of it. It will be beneficial not only now but also in the long run. It can include sports psychologists, motivational speakers, and mental health professionals who are more associated with chess, who write articles on chess, conduct webinars, and can be contacted by athletes personally. So these are the points I mainly thought of, and I would be happy if we can have a discussion on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Soumya. And I think you've brought out a very important perspective on the mental health of players. I mean, be it chess or be it cricket or be it badminton, table tennis or tennis. I've also been talking to a lot of players across different sports, and most of them are suffering from not actually playing on the ground. I see a lot of players doing fitness at home. I'm part of a group. We do 2 hours of fitness every morning, but that going on the field, touching the ground, or meeting with people like Kareer have also mentioned,
Yes.
that we still miss that handshake or that hug. So that definitely is therapeutic in that way. So that is something we as MCA definitely would take that point, and we will work with Emil and BharatSingh as well, and try and see how on a global level we can bring this whole mental health issue on the forefront. Thank you for that perspective, Soumya.
Thank you, Siddharth.
Uh, Thank you all the panelists for enlightening us and giving us new ideas, new directions, and new pathways of taking chess either online or offline or on the celluloid or on fitness and health issues. Moving forward, we have a few set of questions which our experts have made, and we would be asking those questions to you panelists, after which we will throw it open to the audience for their questions. And before I go forward, our online team tells us that we are 4,300 people already logged on to view our webinar. So I think that's a good number, considering that we are doing it on a Sunday and in the morning hours where most of the people on Sundays love to laze around and not get into anything serious. So I think that's the power of the panelists that we have, which has attracted so many people. So let me start with a question to Vishy, and it actually starts from what Soumya just spoke. This was the question then came to me this morning from somebody who's very keen on sports as a subject. And the question is that mental fitness, mental health, we see a lot of cases happening where people are succumbing to mental pressures. We had unfortunate incidents last week, I believe, in India, where somebody succumbed to the mental pressures. So I'm not talking about players here, I'm talking about people in general. How do you think chess, if it is popularized amongst the masses, how do you think this can be a tool and a very effective tool to help people get that mental peace and the mental balance? Vishy, you're on mute. You'll need to unmute it.
Yeah, sorry. It was a very interesting point that Soumya brought across. I hadn't thought of it, that a lot of us are simply not in the best of moods by being cooped up home so much. And I think you need an excuse. I mean, we are a social species. So you need an excuse, but we still need an excuse to get together. You can say we'll all meet up, but if you have some occasion, it can be a birthday or some, I mean, even my own family, we have cousins I haven't spoken to in 7 or 8 years. Suddenly we started having group calls for some birthday, and it gives you a chance to engage. And I think chess is one of those things. It's something that can provide the excuse for us to get together, in a sense. We could meet up over a tournament and then hang around and talk to each other, and it'll definitely improve our mood. So that's a very positive way to use the community side of chess, and use it to help people at least see another human face for a couple of hours a day. And whether it's as an audience or as a participant, it does cheer us up if we are forced to do this, and chess is a good excuse to make it happen. So that can be one way to go forward.
Thank you, Vishy. My next question is to Emil, and the question that as the president of Maharashtra Chess Association, we are living in crazy times, and I think this is going to stay for a longer time. It's not going to go away in the next couple of months. Maybe we can go offline, online as a hybrid combination going into the future. What I want to ask you is, as the Director General on activities in FIDE, what are you planning specifically in terms of taking chess to the next level? Chess already has gained a lot of popularity, and as Mr. Deshpande also said that, of course, with the COVID, there is an economic issue that has come on the forefront, which will also affect sponsorship in a big way. So what is it that FIDE is specifically thinking of, A, in terms of attracting the money? So how are we bringing the honey to get the bees? B, what are the activities that FIDE is planning to do? And I ask this with a specific purpose that we can then borrow from your ideas and try and put together some indigenized form of it and implement those in India and Maharashtra.
Thank you. That's a good question. It's not easy to answer it in short, but I'll try my best. First of all, this mix of online and offline, of course, has been raised, and we must approach it very diligently, because now for quite a few months or more, at least, we would have a limited activity, but we have to remember about the social value of chess. It is largely lost when it is online, and it is why when offline would be possible, we call it offline, regular, classical, over-the-board chess would be possible, we should have this balance once again restored. Because let's not forget that meeting people is part of social value that chess brings into the world. Players who are regular players, who are traveling players, who are masters or grandmasters, they would make friends in, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 countries. It's not for nothing that the slogan of FIDE is "Again, Sumas, we're one family." It's only a chess player among many people actually that is privileged to have friends in so many countries, and you would go everywhere and you would know that chess is something that unites you. It's even more than any other sport, I think. You have a common background and so on. So this balance is very difficult to keep. For us, things were upwards for work with many countries and sponsors. As you know, in 2019, we managed to secure sponsorship from big global companies like Coca-Cola and Total. We started cooperation with Cisco, which is actually allows us also to provide some sort of a technical solutions to our broadcasts and the way we work. For example, they are now preparing for us the General Assembly of FIDE to take place online this year, and Cisco would be providing technical facilities for that, technical solutions. But at the same time, we have to be innovative in terms of what our audience is as long as we're in an online world. It means we have new sponsors, new partners. Let's say we work with Twitch a lot because they have a lot of streams. They have a lot of people following especially the chess.com streams there. It opens up the ways for new audience because online competitions, as a rule, are followed largely by younger audience. That means you can approach to younger companies. You have approach to other companies. Let's say like online educations. I think a company like Baiju can be interested to go something because you see the numbers. You can show them the numbers. Previously, just it would be very limited. Because online, it's much easier to collect data on how many people are following you, how many reactions, what is your visibility, and so on. So this is one thing. And another thing is formatting of the event. One of the ideas we promote very heavily now, it's going to take place soon, is the World Corporate Chess Championship. We want to use this opportunity for the companies, many of which are working now online and distant, to provide them a possibility to gather their team, their own entity, have chess players in the company, maybe added by one professional, but not more, to represent them in sort of global competition. And we already have gotten confirmed interest from several global companies, and we expect to have over 30 multinational corporations and companies taking part. I think it's good initiative. Also, you can do it on an India level, even if a local Indian corporate championship, because it's something that does not require a lot of preparation. It's something that you do not expect to have serious problems of cheating, online cheating. I mean, it's highly unlikely that people that would represent would do so. And it's something that sets up a network for you for future promotion of the game. Because you start with a company, somebody sees how exciting it is, you have people who are getting involved, engaged, and then next step you can already build up some sort of partnership. So this is one thing which I would suggest you to consider. One largest thing which we are doing, and it's a huge project which is our focus now, is online Olympiad. As you know, summer 2020, we were supposed to have Chess Olympiad. It didn't materialize due to the situation, but we will conduct online Olympiad, which would run probably from the end of July till the beginning of September. It would run in a format that it would expose also not only focus on the top level chess, but would be inclusive to have to provide the possibilities and opportunities for countries where chess is undeveloped so far or less developed. And we introduced a program which I think it also can be nicely done by India in order to have people more engaged and at the same time to, let's say, to make this cheating problem less impactful. We introduced a lot of prizes in terms of attending lectures, master classes, playing with the top players. So what happens now? If you're a cheater, you would not cheat in order to, if there's money on stake is one thing. But if you have a chance to visit a masterclass, you would cheat all your waste goes there. Hardly so. So we already have an agreement of several top players, top 10 players, to go with this program and to support. I think this combination of social activity and something that the chess players would benefit from, legends of chess can be employed on Indian levels. You already have, let's say, a handful of your legends. Anybody who is interested in, even not interested, who ever heard about chess knows Vishy. Anybody who is interested in chess knows Vidit, and so on. So you can really involve people this way by providing them a chance to meet their grace in person, to play I don't know, a couple of blitz games with as a prize, or to visit a workshop online. This kind of cooperation is very good. And third part, which we think really is possible now, is trying to collect the data that would show to companies and to governments how chess is popular indeed. Because everybody knows that chess is a good game. I mean, even previously, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you ask, everybody would have a good opinion of chess. It's positive. It makes you think. It gives your competitiveness and everything. But for the companies, especially if you require for some money, you have to bring figures, and that's a different story. Now with this online activity, we have to use the chance to bring figures. It's collectible, it's scalable. You can make source of events, and Vidit rightly pointed out some sort of exhibition events to show how many people would be really interested to see and watch it, and then to approach with that to a bigger company. It is true that many of the corporations are cutting out their sponsorship budgets, but I think there is almost no companies that, let's say, completely remove it from their budget. And I see that not from the biggest ones, but from the medium ones which want to progress, they can see it as an opportunity. Because an investment in chess is not as big, but it allows you to set up the image of a company as something supporting good cause. I think that because I'm in charge in this negotiations with corporations and sponsors and so on. And I found already this trend that mid-sized companies, not talking now about the global ones, they are often interested in finding, opportunities, whereas the crisis is obviously an opportunity for some. So those who have resources to invest in chess and to promote their brand or to promote their actions, so they would obviously could be interested by that, as long as we come with the data and not coming with just, chess is a good thing, let us help it. Yeah. But if you say that, okay, you have a report in Indian Express in times of Mumbai Times or whatever, and you see that it gets to thousands of hundreds or hundreds of thousands, or even millions of people. So it's easier to convince them that chess is something that is a spotlight, and then to go with some sort of a program, be it social or professional. There are two angles of it, and some companies would be interested in a social. It's also very important to tackle it specifically to interests of companies, because it couldn't be the same approach to every company. One company cares more about expanding its audience, one about improving its image, and the third one could be about women's rights. And we are doing now, let's say, a lot for women chess. If you notice now, we have a month-long competition for top women, and Harika and Hampi, they qualified to the finals. So it would be a very big competition. I think Indian media would be able to come. Anyways, I think crisis is an opportunity, and we should not find excuses for not doing something, but rather looking for angles how to approach, because for any businesses, medium businesses and the global corporations, they're also looking for an opportunity.
Thank you, Emil. Thank you for that detailed answer. And when you said the World Corporate Chess Tournament, I could see Mr. Deshpande's eyes twinkle with some ideas, and I'm sure he would have definitely put some plan in his mind on how we can at MCA can execute something like this, because Maharashtra also has the largest number of corporates who are based here, especially especially in Mumbai, where Dr. Kareer is, where the government headquarters are, is the base for the Bombay Stock Exchange. That's where all the companies who are listed have their headquarters. So this is going to be a very interesting idea for us, and we will, I think, pursue that really, really aggressively. Thank you for that perspective. Abhijit, you had some questions as well. Can you take over?
Kareer sir, I wanted to ask you. You said that I had called you, but basically whenever I have an issue or a problem, I call you for your advice. And thank you for joining. So the question for you will be, you have been supporting chess and sponsoring chess, I remember, since Commonwealth 2000 in Sangli. It was a very small town and we organized the Commonwealth. And after that, each and every major event which happened in Maharashtra, you were the main supporter or the organizer of the event. And without your help, it was not possible to do that. So how do you think that the future for big events in India will be for next 1.5 years?
Okay, all right. That's a tough one, obviously. At the overall situation, overall economic situation, this is going to be limited. At the same time, it looks very unlikely that other tournaments could happen at least in the next 6 months. I mean, where physical contact, I mean, we don't even have gyms opening up possibly for another couple of months. So full-fledged tournaments of physical contact maybe another 6 months away. So that looks like an opportunity to me, where chess being the game where a lot of online events could take place, online tournaments could take place. More importantly, this is also a time where, since nothing else is happening on the sports side, chess could sort of move in, and with the right moves at this juncture, the popularity also could be increased. Finally, sponsorship depends on popularity. If the sports is popular, if more people are watching it, and 4,500 today is possibly because of Viswanathan Anand and Emil, but they will not always be there. So how do we get 4,000 people to 4,000 and more people to watch a tournament or watch a game? How do we make that game more interesting to begin with, so that more people then start following it? And the moment more people start following it, I think the sponsors come in behind the numbers. So we really need to approach it from this side, make the game interesting, get more tournaments happening, get more people to watch those tournaments, and then go after sponsorships with those numbers. And finally, of course, maybe after some time, we move on to actual tournaments, because that's the other point which was made, and I think that's really important. Is that when you meet people, it's not when you meet people for a tournament, it's not only your, it's not only the game that benefits, your game that benefits. It's the overall social capital that gets created when you meet people about something or over something. It's as simple as what Paris used to be famous at a point of time, where people used to meet at cafes. And why Paris was so intellectually stimulating was because people could meet each other at those cafes, and new social capital could get created, or new ideas would get born and would achieve fruition. And therefore meeting is important. Eventually we will need to go there, because obviously none of us can stay cooped up forever, and none of us should get. I personally enjoyed not meeting people, but that's possibly because I meet so many people otherwise that it's a great break for me. But other than that, I think so getting sponsorships is a challenge, but because of the great game that all of you are involved in, maybe we could turn this challenge into an opportunity and reach out to people once we are able to get the numbers right. And cheating on numbers is not possible online. So you actually get the numbers there and you can see that so many people are following the game. What Vidit spoke about, that there is an interesting tournament and people want to know about it and stuff like that, or what Soumya spoke about. These are the young voices that we have, and if we are able to read those voices and reach out to a larger number of people, I'm sure sponsorships will be possible. Government sponsorships may be tough this year, because this year government revenues are at a dismal low. I mean, it's going to be really tough for, for example, government of Maharashtra is now operating at a 65% cut in the budgets. So, which means nothing new can get added on. So, like that, governments will find it tough to sponsor tournaments, but private sponsorships may be more forthcoming. We will, of course, have to cut down our costs for those sponsorships. I mean, it's not possible to get a really grand event coming up soon, but it will be possible to have smaller events, reaching out to a larger number of people, reaching out to different crowds, and these networks then stimulating a larger number of people, so that we move to more and more people, and that helps us to get sponsorship. Thank you.
Teresa, while you were answering to Abhijit's question, I just got the latest count. We are 21,000 plus viewers already watching this. So we will, I think we are getting the numbers slowly, yes.
Sir, I think I will request you to speak more so that the numbers will double, I think. Okay, so I have a question for BharatSingh ji, that you have said that you plan to organize the national tournaments online. So how do you plan to actually organize it? Like, what will be the operations involved? Bharat bhai, aap mute pe ho.
Abhijit, we already have a network. We have talukas, we have district level, we have state levels, we have 33 state units. What we plan to have centers in entire India. Already there are centers which are conducting examinations for various entrance exams like IIT, BITS Plan, GMAT. We are going to use their services, because national championship means cheating should be monitored and the result should be 0% cheating. So I think we can achieve it. Online tournament with this kind of arrangement, we can have national championship with 60 centers, 50 centers, or 100 centers. We have ample of arbiters in every nook and corner of the country. Even small talukas, they have trainers, they have arbiters. So everybody is utilized and everybody is looked after. We can have, because it is very important to move things going on, because it's very difficult for others to survive. The chess world, chess trainers, chess arbiters, and everybody involved. So it is very important to have the national championship. This is the way we can have small club level tournament physically, and in case things not improving, then we can have everything online, and national championship also online, which FIDE was thinking about making them rating, but because of the cheating. But I think this is a great idea to stop cheating, putting 2-3 arbiters in some centers and monitoring everything, and they cannot use their device. They have to use the devices which are provided by the organizers. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. That's, I think, the excellent idea. So it will be the online, offline hybrid model, I think, which you will be utilizing. It will also cut down the travel time for the players, and they can play with the districts or near states.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very interesting idea.
If I just may add, it has been raised already a couple of months ago by FIDE. And what's more, this idea included in the regulations of online Olympiad, which I mentioned earlier on. So we are foreseeing such a possibility. Of course, it is easier to make it on a country level than on an international level, because on an international level, if you have a competition among countries, then you have to send in foreign arbiters to be an arbiter, because you cannot have local arbiters to be arbiters in this case, if it's in competition. But yes, it's obviously a very good idea, and I think it's implementable as long as you have properly structured clubs and federations, because you need also places to have players gather together and play from this place. What's more, we already envision a possibility to have it not only in clubs and federations, which are actually limited to very few, but also to have it at some public spaces, and even considered some networks like cafes and so on, that would be that in these places we would assemble best players, and these cafes would in turn become sponsors of the event. Imagine you have some chain, right? I mean, it should be a big chain, of course, all over the country, all over the world. I don't want to name names before we have any concrete agreements, but you can think of it.
Sure, thank you, Emil. Coming from this discussion, there's a question, a very short question, but for Aniruddha, that hearing what Emil has said, and of course, what you also mentioned in terms of the sponsorships, but what point Emil has come up with is going to smaller companies, looking at smaller amounts, and then raising the bet slowly for them. So with this, what do you think we should be doing as MCA or even as AICF for that matter to attract more money? Of course, the numbers, like Kareer Sahab said, is important to come, but what is the approach we should take? What do you think? What are your ideas on this?
I think it is another about 2 months time, because the time Kareer Sahab is actually the person who's monitoring the entire district now. So he is actually monitoring COVID very closely. So in 2-3 months, we'll be able to actually go for maybe a real tournament with some kind of acrylic sheet between two players for this social distancing or safe this thing. So it is once you actually start the tournament on the ground, it becomes very easy for the sponsors to come in and pitch there. But on the online, if you are really going to get numbers like 10,000, 15,000, so the online sponsorships are possible, but the sponsorship cost is very low. The amounts are very low. So if you see overall the online market, the online sponsorships that were there till pre-COVID were very, very cheap. I don't know, post-COVID, maybe online sponsorships may be expensive. So at MCA, maybe in the next council meeting or managing committee meeting, we'll have to debate on this a little bit.
Thank you, Aniruddha. Vidit, you've been listening to all of us, and yes, Haji,
just one issue on this smaller amounts. 1,000 people giving 1,000 rupees each. That's the numbers that we look at. Do we have 1,000 people giving 1,000 rupees each? Do we have 10,000 people giving 1,000 rupees each?
Yeah.
Do we have 1 million people giving 1,000 rupees each? That's all.
Yes.
Look at the zeros that get multiplied on the other side. And
yes.
Therefore so sponsorships are not really about big money. Big money is important. I mean, but it's getting tough because something Abhijit had given me, a task about 6-7 months back, and I have not been able to do that as yet. So, and I know it's important. The persons that I'm talking to know it's important for the country and all that. And I'm not getting into names, Abhijit, deliberately here because there are so many people online. But yes, large sponsorships are tough now, but a larger number of smaller sponsorships are easily doable in these times.
Yes.
That's a very interesting thought, Kareer Sahab. It is the number adding up at the end of the day. That is what we need. So I think we will definitely take this up in our next EC meeting as what Aniruddha.
Yeah, we'll have to take up in the meeting, and we'll have to
coming to your question with it.
So I will just add one thing for Vidit. So Vidit has been streaming online once this COVID started, and when he started, actually his followers were about 600 on Insta, which has now gone beyond 27,000 in 1 month. So the numbers, I think he is the most one of the most popular chess players in India. And Vidit, how did you achieve it? Everyone will try to do it. Even I want to do it, man.
That's what my question also was.
on the lighter note, you have to then create some online controversies.
Only at one stage,
which Vidit cannot do, which you can do.
So yeah, actually, like the number was 6,000 and now it became to 27,000 like on Instagram. And one of the reasons definitely was because I collaborated with comedians who have been playing chess and they've been streaming chess. So definitely that is where, many different new audience has come from, where they saw the entertainment side of the game, which is very important to bring in. And uh, that one of the things which was asked, like how do we popularize game, so we can collaborate. Like there are many influential people who are very interested in the game, so if you collaborate with them, I think it brings a new viewers and new audience in. And one of the things about numbers was like what I told earlier. I just wanted to clarify that it was concurrent viewers. Like at one point, how many viewers were watching? The unique number of viewers are much higher, like it's in millions. So that's a different thing. And on mental health, I wanted to say one more thing which was touched upon, and the social aspect. So one time when I was streaming, some of the people had just like traveled from different countries to like back home and stuff like that, so they sent messages that they were in isolation, and they watching the streams actually helped them get through it, like watching the game, watching the sport. So also chess has played a role there, in a social aspect. And crowdfunding is an option in general, but for example, we have raised around, I don't know, 3.5 million rupees for like COVID-19 and various other problems which was going on. But I don't think crowdfunding is the option for long term for any tournaments. I think it has to be through corporates or stuff like that. It's only for short term. And yeah, regarding what Abhijit Dada asked me, which is to how to increase it. Yeah, there's only one thing, like people will watch because if they find it interesting and if it's entertaining them or if they enjoy it. So the way to make it enjoyable is to, one of the things is of course to collaborate with many influencers or people who are like interested in the game, top level people who are interested in the game. And online is great to like reach many people. So definitely that. And yeah, these are the things which come to my mind right now, like what you can do. And you can reach more people if it's like
Vidit, I have one.
Yeah,
when
sorry.
you were live,
Yeah.
and your mother said that ek thappad marungi, that you were live. Jaldi se so ja warna thappad marungi. So what do you felt?
Well, that was a spontaneous incident which was completely unplanned, but people liked it. Like they could relate to it. Like, are doesn't matter who you are, everybody's house has the same situation. That no matter if you're grandmaster or whatever, at your house your mom is the boss. So
well, that always is the case. I have this is a question I've always had, but more so in the COVID times. And I've been seeing online, and about 9 people have asked the same question. This is to Vishy. In your life, I'm sure you must have gone through a lot of ups and downs, but did you really face a lockdown kind of a situation in terms of your game? And what was the strategy you did to come out of that lockdown or come out of the quarantine as far as the game is concerned?
Okay, it's very easy to answer that. This year is unique. I've faced nothing like this. I remember missing flights and having to stay in a hotel in some city till the next day, and that drove me nuts. And now we're talking almost 4 months. So I would have to start off by saying this year has been unique. There is no experience that comes close. For instance, the week before my match in Sofia, where I could not go to the airport, but it was a week, and this is already 4 months. So I've never faced anything like a prolonged lockdown, or even I can't even recall being near a curfew. So no, nothing comes close. But of course, I have traveled a lot, and you can sometimes you're in strange places where you don't have any friends, you don't speak the language, and you feel a bit isolated. Sometimes for a couple of days, sometimes for a week, and you can borrow from that. But let's say that for the last week, it's been very nice to be back home, even though the lockdown here is more strict than what I was experiencing in Germany. Being with family has compensated a lot.
No, I'm sure. And I had another question following up on this. I mean, I'm again now using lockdown as a metaphor. So lockdown in terms of your game. So while you were in your career, did you face any situation where you thought that this is end of the road, that's kind of a dead end, and you sprung back from there and, got the reins again in your hands? So if you can, tell us about some experience of that sort, and what did you do to overcome that?
I have experienced that quite often, and equally, I would compare it to being in a really bad position in a game. And sometimes they say just sit on your hands, which is don't do anything. In the same way, I've often gone through difficult stretches in my career, and you may start to wonder where this is all heading. But sometimes it's best not to do anything. Just sit down, try to do whatever it is you do well, and don't think about it too much. My own experience is life comes and goes. I mean, good times will come, and you'll feel better, and you'll realize that the problems were not as bad as they seem. This is possibly true even on the chessboard, but definitely true off it. So most of the difficult stretches in my career, where I might even had to think along those lines, I find that if you look at the things that make you happy and you don't think about it too much, then you come back stronger. Sometimes you just do something different. You go for a holiday and you come back and you cheer up. So I have never so far felt the need to act on it.
Thank you. So I think we are at the end of the question answer session from the panelists. We have a couple of questions from the audience, and Abhijit has about 3 or 4, some coming in from all the way from Assam, and kids of 6 or 7 years of age. But before I'll give it to Abhijit, I have one question which is coming from Finland. And this is coming from a lady, she's India's paratrooper dropper. So she has a world record of the maximum number of jumps from an aircraft. She also is a Padma Shri from the government of India. So she's living in Finland now. So she's also online joining with her sons. Both of her sons are also interested in chess. So she has a question which I think Kareer Saab or Emil, Bharatji or Vishy, you can take whoever wants to answer this. She said, sir, is there any way to engage and motivate Indian kids who live abroad but wish to play for India? Kareer Saab, maybe you can answer this.
Sure. I know that's, it's really not about children staying in India or children staying abroad. I mean, that really is not or cannot be the question. We are essentially talking about how do we interest a larger number of people, and if that interest is created, why are so many people in India interested in cricket finally, or how many children, whether Indian children, either in India or abroad, are interested in cricket, and why are so many children from Brazil, for example, interested in football? That's something that a national ethos has been created about the sport. And I believe the point that was made earlier, that with such larger number of people who are doing so well in chess, I think that sort of interest can easily, yeah, we love him. There's another person there who's joining us. Welcome. And if we are able to generate a lot of interest about the sport by getting these stars in front of the young boys and girls, I'm sure the children here as well as children in other countries will get interested, will participate more, will try to learn about the game more, will be part of the whole journey, and therefore I think the chess will grow finally. So that's really the only key, to make it more interesting, to make it more available, not only interesting, but to make it more available to a larger number of people. How do we make it interesting is a question that, I am very, very excited with what Vidit talked about. I really hadn't, I checked up his Insta page right now. I check up Insta because my son and my daughter both use it. So I need to just see what they are up to. Sometimes they don't tell me. They stay in different countries and they don't tell me. My son doesn't tell me that he's done a new song, for example, but I check the Insta page and I know that, wow, that's a new song coming in. So stuff like that. So I just check the Insta page and it's very interesting. So that's really the important thing that we have here, is that can we make this interesting? Not something that I'm scared of. Like maybe growing up, I would have been scared of chess. I would have thought that this is beyond me. I cannot. It's like for those Russians there, we cannot even think about chess. But having met a whole lot of you over the years, now I think, yeah, it's possible that there are people who have done it. But so it's not only about the possibility, but it's also about the interesting part. So how do we make these games more interesting? How do we reach out to a larger number of people who with a hook? And once that hook gets in, then we are all set.
Thank you, Kareer sir. I think Abhijit, you have some questions from the audience. You can go through them.
Bharat Bhaiya, you have one question from a small girl from Sikkim. Her name is Manusvi Acharya, and she's asked when we'll be able to travel, play, and meet our friends in chess.
Okay, this is to me, as soon as the things open, we'll run our tournaments with different laws. We are on it. We are trying for it. We are very soon. We are going to form a committee with some doctors, some organizers, and some players, that how to run the tournaments. But only we are waiting for the restrictions to be lifted by the government.
If I may add, we have prepared by FIDE Medical Commission the list of recommendations which could be adopted and used during the tournaments. As mentioned before, some countries already start conducting events. We saw it in Europe, and even one national championship in Croatia started yesterday. So we believe that this potentially could last, let's say in some countries, in India for sure, for a couple of months more, but it's not likely to be like prolonged to 2021. It can happen with the second wave, but this wave, I think, should, at least for some time it will allow to conduct tournaments. And FIDE issues the entire range of recommendations how to stage them.
I just need to add a little bit on this, and it's a great thing that somebody, a young person, so young, is asking this question, and we need to take this question to the logical conclusion. If Maharashtra government has created an opportunity for shootings of films and serials to start, and that's already done, because there are a whole lot of people interested, and they approached us, and so I'm sure if chess is pretty easy to organize in terms of the uh, physical distancing that needs to be brought in, because we already have those distances there. Uh, we could bring in those. We could get those things that FIDE has already talked about, and if a tournament is to be held, I'm sure Maharashtra, we should be able to do. I mean, from the government side, whatever permissions are needed for those, I am sure I'll be able to figure those out. It's not a problem at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Emil, we have one question, Emil and BharatSingh ji. From the arbiters, Mr. Subha Rakesh from Cochin and Mr. Shidore from Pune. So they are asking that what will be the future for arbiters, whether it will be hybrid with online and offline, or do you think that for arbiters future will be only offline?
Well, it's a good question. We cannot answer in full by this time, because in order to answer it comprehensively, you need to understand what would be the implications of COVID, if it's going to last and if it's going to be a second wave. So far, we are conducting seminars for arbiters who want also to be arbiters in our online events. And recently, last week, we conducted it on the website and allowed many arbiters to learn some good practices, best practices, which we already derive from this 3 months activity of online. I would think that arbiters could also be employed in some sort of this online-offline mix, which was raised before that, because you would need arbiters anyways for competitions, because due to the restrictions of anti-cheating policies, you could not be possibly having everything just online. Some competitions, yes, but not all of them. So it could be a mix where players would play from some venues where arbiters would be needed. But to give a more full, comprehensive reply would be irresponsible, simply because we don't know what would be the consequences, what would be the follow-up. Maybe by the summer 2021, we are everybody vaccinated and everybody is and life back to normal. Or on the contrary, we get some news that there is no possible way to find a vaccine and we have to live with that for years. So it's very difficult to plan now. My answer is, as we see it now, yes, arbiters would be mixing the roles of traditional one and some sort of hybrid.
Thank you, Emil. I think as an Indian Chess Federation, we already said as soon as the permission and things are granted from the government, we are going to come in the main mode. But if things remain the way it is happening, COVID-19 is hitting very hard in our country. Online also we are using arbiters. And as I said, even the situation, certain places, there is no COVID-19. There we are going to have club tournaments, local tournaments, and of course, arbiters will be engaged, and they are very important part of Indian chess. All the arbiters are very important part of the game, and they will be looked after. And both the ways they will be engaged. In online, as I said, if we conduct online chess tournament, online national championship, in case things does not improve, as Emil said, vaccine is there or not, online tournament, so arbiters are needed anyway. Online or offline, arbiters will be required. Thank you.
So I have one question from Pradeep Patambi from Kerala and Vipul Subhashi and Sushruta Reddy. So it's almost similar. So what I have said is that due to online chess, there is a lot of participation of women players into this. And do you think that this will grow, and we should utilize this with the chess in education program? So it is for Anand, Vidit, and Soumya.
So, yeah. Yes, I think anything which makes it easier for people to participate will have a beneficial effect. Also, there could be other kinds of arrangements. Imagine that, for instance, you don't have enough arbiters for every person who wants to play from their own house, but you could easily have people assemble in a club, have one arbiter sitting there monitoring them, and then the environment is much more controlled. But at the same time, you don't have to travel nationally or internationally. So there are possibilities like that. But this is kind of what I meant. There are so many interesting models being tried now, or in the last few months, people are experimenting. And we don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad, but I think a lot of them will find some nice niche. And we should be completely open to this idea, because what this has shown is, what the pandemic has shown is that a lot of things we rejected out of hand before actually turn out to be perfectly viable. And so the main thing we should do is to make it easy and trivial for people to take part in an event and enjoy themselves. We shouldn't take the sport too seriously. We should make it as lighthearted as possible, so that people from all parts of the country can take part. And this might also just be a great opportunity for us. In a way, we are doing it at gunpoint, if you will, but we might find out something useful.
Actually, it's a great, one of the very good points was like we can assemble in one place, which I was also thinking about, which makes perfect sense. That way you solve the cheating problem, and you solve another problem with online chess, that is the internet issue, which can be like it will be same, so it should not be a problem. And like these places we can establish where we avoid the long travel, but you can go to like a club or like and have an institution where we can do that. I think colleges also have like this, so we can tie up with that and can make it happen to, if we want to go about it immediately.
I would just like to add that as Anand sir pointed out, that a lot of things which we had discarded earlier, we have realized they can actually help us promote chess and improve chess even more. So, for example, I feel many people might find it just more convenient to play online. For example, I attended a Zoom wedding last week online. It was my first online wedding ever, and it's the best wedding I've ever attended because I didn't have to change, I didn't have to travel anywhere. I just wish the chat section was open so that I could comment on what's going on. But it was a lot of fun, and I just think that a lot of people would prefer to play online in the comfort of their home and you know uh, in a semi professional environment. So even in a club it would be still semi professional, right? So I think it's a great opportunity for a lot of people who couldn't play earlier. And I would also like to add one more point, that during COVID we have been forced to multitask. Like, there have been instances when I was watching some tournament online while cooking side by side. So these things have that. So I just feel like a lot more people can now play chess who couldn't find time for it earlier because of online chess. So that is also another point.
Abhijit, we can actually do some teaser films on all these grandmasters and everybody, because normal public thinks that they are very serious, except for people have seen few things of Viswanathan Anand, and then they know that they are also normal people, they are also colorful people. So I think small teasers can be very easily made, and they can actually be shown on the whatever social medias are there. So they are not different people than the normal players.
So that's a great idea, and I think we can start. We can ideally start it with a melody between Adiban and Vidit. I think that will be more entertaining. So I think we've come to the end of our first.
If we are closing, Siddharth, if we are closing, I just have to make one point. Because that should not go unanswered or undecided on. That is about the mental health program for chess players. Now, I think that was a brilliant idea, and obviously, mental health programs are needed for everybody, but especially for people who participate in events which add to a lot of stress or things like that. I think it's even more important. So, as the Chess Association, either at the national level or at the state level, if there is something that can be done about this, and I am, of course, always available to help in either to get people to talk about in terms of some motivational people talking about it, or people to talk about emotional intelligence, or people to even talk about pure mental health issues. It is true. Pure mental health issues. I think we should take this forward. I mean, it's an issue that has been flagged, and I don't want really to look back after a couple of years and say, okay, this was said, and we did not do anything about it. So I think let's just focus a little bit of attention on that. As I said, I'm always available either in finding the people or getting them together, or getting or creating an online platform where we reach out to all the players in the country. I mean, for this purpose, we need not language need not be a barrier, because all the players who play chess at a senior level are all conversant in English. So let's start with that, and then gradually we could move on to other languages if necessary. But this is something that we need to take up immediately. And the other part on teasers, I don't know. It's obviously important to have role models, and we have quite a few of them. And therefore, but the important part is not really the teasers. The important part is to have a platform where we are able to reach out to a larger number of people. So obviously, MCA has some social media handle, but we don't know how many people they are able to reach out to. Maybe they are only reaching out to the players who are already part of the association, because they need to be part of this to learn about tournaments and stuff. But if we are going to talk about popularizing, then we need to figure out some other handle, social media handle, not the association. But and that's something that maybe when all of you meet at the association level, maybe you could take it forward. And as I said, any input from my side, I am always available. Thank you.
Kareer, thank you very much for that. And I think we will, on the topmost priority, take up this mental health issue and draft some kind of an idea profile and share it with you. Take your inputs. We'll also involve other people from the committee or even from the country who are interested in this. And maybe before Diwali of this year, we will launch some kind of a program which will get people engaged on a more motivational side and help them cope up with the mental stresses that people may have, either while playing the game or also while not playing the game. So I think this is the big takeaway for us, other than the different ideas and wisdom that we have received. But I think the mental health issue is the big takeaway, and we definitely will work on this. And most certainly, we will come back to you and pick your mind and time on this. So coming to an end to this wonderful session today, I think a Sunday morning well spent for all of us. Today, fortunately, also happens to be the World Yoga Day. It is the World Music Day also, somebody told me. And I replied to them online just now that for me, this is a World Symphony Day, because we have mixed yoga with chess and music. And I think if we can gel all of these together, we really can achieve the mental fitness level that Kareer Saab just spoke about and what Soumya started up the discussion with. So this has been a very, very enlightening session for us, for 20,000 plus people, all of us chess lovers and chess enthusiasts. And like they say that when all the stakeholders in a business are on the same page, that business will only prosper. So here we have the government, the association, the players, everybody on the same page, everybody wanting the same thing. So it is only the top that we can reach for chess. It is a game we all love, and like I always put in my Twitter handle, chess in our blood. So that's the DNA that we have, and that's what we will build up from here on. So I take this opportunity on behalf of our entire team at MCA, all the chess lovers across the state, across country, across nations who are participating here today. To thank Emil, to thank Vishy, Viswanathan Anand, Dr. Nitin Kareer, BharatSingh Chauhan, Vidit Gujarathi, Aniruddha Deshpande, and Soumya Swaminathan for coming here today, for sharing your ideas and thoughts with us. I think we are enriched today, and a big takeaway of lockdown was that we were able to bring all of us together on one platform. In an offline world, it would have taken 1 year to get all of these people in one single place. So thank you very much, and thank you, the MCA team. Thank you, Mr. Chitale, Mr. Firodia, Mr. Kunte, and all the back-end people who have helped this webinar become a reality. And we look forward to more such idea sessions, and we look forward to getting guidance from all of you stalwarts in time to come. Signing off from Pune, it is Siddharth, Mayur, and Abhijit. We actually are maintaining social distance, though we are in the same room. So that we decided to gather together and be together. So it's Abhijit and me saying bye to everyone.
Happy Yoga Day.
Happy Yoga Day. And,
bye. Thank you so much.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Yep.
Thank you, Abhijit and Siddharth.
I have this one last question to our two youngsters, grandmasters, Abhimanyu and joined, who are also grandmasters. And I will request you, what did you learn during this lockdown time? Short answer.
Okay, I've learned to adapt more to preparing specifically for online tournaments, like you need to have some different sort of preparations because the formats are different, and some other skills are also needed for online chess. So I've learned a lot about that.
Thank you, Abhimanyu. Shardul?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So during COVID pandemic, at home I learned many new things. Actually, it was very good opportunity for me. I could prepare new things and also learn new things. And I have with me my sister, one international master, Shalmali Gagre. So we both used to practice during pandemic, and it was great opportunity for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shardul. Thank you, Abhimanyu. So thank you, everyone, once again. And we will all be in touch, of course, connected online.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It was wonderful meeting all of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you
Very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.